Hey, morning, folks. We got to play Elderath last night because next weekend, which is our regularly scheduled game, I'll be at Gen Con, and so I won't be able to play. So we kind of shifted things around. Anyway, uh, there was an. Oh, by the way, that body hanging in the rigging. Yeah, so we did a little retcon on that, or back play, whatever you want to call it. So he had a dagger stuck in his forehead. It doesn't have a cross guard, and it's got this leathery palm-shaped thing attached to it, so it can't be held normally. It looks like it's designed to be squeezed with the palm of your hand. It's some kind of specialty throwing dagger. It's very well balanced. It's not steel, but maybe something like Durasteel, Dylan was asking. And then Dylan remembered, Wes, remembered from the Far Horizon days that they came across an alien spaceship crashed on the moon with these aliens we called fatties. And we investigated that ship, and those aliens had these kind of specialty throwing daggers. Lots of cross pollination going here. Anyway, going back to the ship and the captain's journals, there's a reference in the journals in the last section. There's a picture of a standing stone in a pathway, and it mentions earlier in that section of the journal that something had followed him out. He believes it is chasing him. Then there are a fewer descriptions of flora and fauna that are local, things that we're familiar with and we recognize. And he talks about attempting to make his next jump, but then he references the Taurus, the planet that we're on, and he questions, where am I? Dylan's able to follow his calculations in the book. And it's clear he's searching for something, but he never specified what it was. There are drawings of the Taurus, there are marks of the various radii, calculations of the surface area. There are more calculations to find whatever it is he's looking for, where that is. Just for us math whizzes out there, he discovers that the surface area is about 94.7 billion square kilometers. And he's doing some mass calculations. He does it several times. Each time he comes up with this number that could not be correct. And he kind of guesses, maybe this is hollow. It's not clear where he's going with what's left in the journals that we have on his writings. But some radii, there's 400,000 kilometer large radius center point to the external side of the tube. The tube has a radius of 6 kilometers, and the inside radius of the Taurus is 394,000 kilometers. And there's some description in there, some math and stuff on trying to discover this whole three-body problem. Why does this thing not just fly apart? Because you got the Taurus planet, right? And then you got a moon that goes up and down through the middle, and you got another one that circles around. I don't remember if it goes this way or this way, but there's another one that circles around. Okay, back to the ship. Under the repulsors, the ship can sail at about 4 knots. Good winds keep the Vikings at about that speed, but under oars they can go much faster. So if we're just sailing along, we can go with them without any issues. So we meet up with the fleet and a delegation. The two, a bunch of people come over, right? They're all the Viking ship we're escorting meets up with the rest of the fleet because we can't pull back, right? Don't freak them out. And so they have discussions over there, and then the two cousins to the Jarl on their ship come on over to us. Wow, can we come aboard? That kind of thing. So we don't want everybody running rampant on the ship, but it's obvious that they're going to want to investigate things, and we need them to help us figure out some of the setting stuff anyway. So the two cousins come up, we get on board, we sit around, we talk, and I start looking at things. Wow, look at this. How's that work? And then one guy's in a picture. Oh, this is how that works. And so some cool stuff is happening with ship handling as we listen to and follow along and try and help. And so they end up piloting the ship, running the rigging and the sails and stuff as they're experimenting, and we're going places and doing things. Okay. We also discussed the missing ships. There was the one that we sent back to Burfell, and then service here between Burfell and Tuskayar, but they have not seen anything of the serpent. And they had, if the sail's actually full blown, won't just tip the shit over. And then Wes kind of mentions, it's got a keel, a fin down at the bottom. Oh, wow, really? And so they actually jump over, they dump the gear, jump overboard, go swimming underneath to take a look at this thing. And they're trying to put some of this stuff together. I meant to mention earlier to the GM that I wanted Wes to be doing his communed with Maliki thing, especially while we're out here on the ocean, right away from everything. Every night. But we just had a one-day roll. But he rolled a special, right? So during that night, he communes with Maliki, and he has a vision. He sees a figure of the statuary Maliki that we've seen, right? But behind her is standing that Forerunner lady that we met, the Maliki we know. And Wes gets this sense of relief from the figure, not the Forerunner, the figure. Three things. One, we in fact survived. Two, that we become awakened. And three, that we are here for an intervention. We weren't necessarily supposed to be here, apparently. But something happened in transit, some kind of nefarious influence. And these are the forces that are behind the Iron Wind and the Empty Sun. They're both being manipulated by this external nefarious influence we're calling the Shadow. It's manipulating both of them. Because we were thinking, well, maybe it's Iron Wind, but the Empty Sun was... I thought Empty Sun was supposed to be good guys, but... I'll have to go ahead and check my notes again. Wes kind of thinks about the transit demons that we ran into getting here, and there's this yes kind of feeling that they're connected. And then he kind of, okay, we're ready to finish. What do you want us to do now? And the answer is kind of convoluted. Wes doesn't understand, but he gets this feeling of great patience on her part in dealing with supplicant races. Okay, so there are threats behind things happening here on Elderath that are tied to everything, and it all draws back to this war between the ancients. And this shadow is threatening things here that we may be able to influence. He has visions of a high-tech dystopian kind of thing, like the opening credits from Blade Runner. A vision of the Confederated System Alliance, kind of a star map of political arrangements and the influence of shadow that's there, which was her initial intent. We're supposed to continue to work with that. And the boat can, in fact, go interstellar. And then it's kind of left with, okay, we must decide or we must choose. Then we have discussions as the next morning, Wes relates that to everybody, well, not to everybody, to Raymond, specifically to Raymond. Raymond recalls going through the gate that there was a blaster fire that hit the gate as we went through and it malfunctioned. Okay, so we start looking for, back to mundane things, a charger for the power cells. With the idea that as we get back the fleet, we're trying to get those 3 ships that are trailing the fleet. So at night, we go up, we get the power cells charged up, we can use the multivision spyglass to gather intel on those 3 ships. Sorry. So we're looking around, we kind of show Runt and Hjalmar, hey, we're looking for something this little thing will fit into. And then what they kind of give a description of normal recharges that we've experienced in Far Horizons. And as they're wandering around, Runt finds it and actually becomes enlightened or illuminated. And so there's actually some discussions ensuing about his Far Horizons character and skill levels that is in the live play. So there's this huge piece in the middle talking about Runt's Far Horizon character. So if you can skip through all that if you're actually into watching live play stuff. There's also another part where we took a 15-minute break that I forgot to restart. the recording after. So there's this stop point in the middle, and then it picks up in the middle of us discussing stuff. Sorry. Okay, so we get back to the fleet. The sub had gone off east, went down, and it disappeared. And so Raymond's talking to the fleet about, we're following the Serpent, and he gives them the same description. It went off to the east and went down, and we lost track of it. He also mentions the 3 ships trailing them, and I was thinking that we didn't necessarily want to engage them just yet, but c'est la vie. And so the fleet's going, what? Somebody trailing us? We need to go get them. So we all decide we're going to engage, and we kind of point them, okay, they're that direction, start sailing. But we're going to wait till the next morning. So in the morning, we pursued them. We actually spot them at 20 miles out. Then they start turning north in order to keep distance. So they're keeping the distance between us. The multivisor, now charged, shows the 3 ships. We don't recognize the colors. There's 25-ish guys, humans, on the ships, each one. So they're not orcs, right? And it's being operated as a normal ship. They're not doing anything funky or weird or high-tech. As I mentioned before, the cousins are on board our ship running it. Because of the rigging and the sails and stuff, we're kind of pick up what we can. The GM did give us 1% in ship handling from all of this. So Wes has some actual training in it, so we've got a full 8%. Runt takes over driving the repulsors because his Far Horizons character is a computer guy, and this is all computer generated, computer run stuff, right? While he's down in the control room, he just starts messing with stuff. And he sees that in the keel, there's actually a pair of wings. Hydroplaning foils is what I believe they are. And they're self-adjusting for stabilization because we kind of raise the body of the ship up out of the water to decrease the drag. And the keel with the fins kind of keeps us stable as the waves go up and down in between. Okay. He does know sensors that are indicating various conditions or statistics of the water density and all that kind of stuff, salination levels. And Runt thinks that there might be an internal monitoring program running on these systems. And just as he kind of knows where it is, it vanishes. So he starts poking around, and eventually he gets shut out of stuff. He does in fact find an intercom system, and then he broadcasts ship-wide because he gave when we were talking about the ship being magical and trying to keep the Vikings away, he mentioned that it's haunted. And so he tries acting like it's haunted, making noise. He starts talking in Carillion over the loudspeakers to the whole ship thing, right? But then Raymond and Runt kind of stop doing that, and they start talking just themselves. And Runt continues to mess with the system, trying to mess with the Vikings, having things open and close and that kind of stuff, right? He does find the drive system though, and he puts a little power on, nothing happens, a little more power, and nothing happens. So full bore. Nothing seems to happen, but there's this warning about it overheating that comes up. But as he looks around, he figures out this is a fake screen, that the defense system is just messing with him. So we catch up with the 3 ships, and a fog rises and is increasing, so we can't see them, but we've got sensors that show the ships are changing direction. We use a telescope, the spyglass thing, multi-vision spy scope to look through the fog as well. So Raymond adjusts our course so we can continue to close. And we're out ahead of the rest of the fleet because we've been using technology plus the wind and stuff. And Wes can always do breezes to give us up to 4 knots increase in speed if he takes negative modifiers. But they seen us that we're alone, they turn back towards us. So we then turn back towards the fleet. After that, they just turn back north and continue on their way. So we turn to follow them as they continue on north. Rudd starts searching the ship for any kind of weapon systems or something. He finds something that's labeled photon torpedoes and phasers. He says, okay, now you're just messing with me. He says that out loud to the computer. Fire photon torpedoes. There's a poof. But obviously nothing happens. But on the screen, he sees a ship symbol, break apart and sinking. So Halmar is using the spyglass. He spots Mad Eye on one of the ships. So he's going to start our options, our plans. Okay, what are we going to do? And then Wes brings up that, hey, we can hide better because he's got this shade spell, which is actually quite large, like 100 feet diameter or radius or something. It covers a whole area that increases our chance to hide and to sneak, in fact. So we're talking about using that to obscure our ship, coming down from above at night, so they can't see us, we don't know we're there, kind of thing. Again, doing the air stop on the sail, and do the slumber clouds on the crew, and then connecting it and dragging it away, right? But the issue here is the fate of the daughter. We've got to find, we feel, in order to rectify Hjalmar's situation, we need to find the daughter and return her to her family. Okay, so we execute this and find out that Emerald can actually do the concentration for a spell that Wes has cast, so that he doesn't have to maintain the concentration. She can do that for him, which is good because the air stop spells and the air wall and stuff like that are concentration spells. He can only hold, he's got to hold them, right? So she holds the air stop. He casts the slumber clouds. 9 minutes later, everybody's asleep. We go down there. We tie everybody up. We find one guy who looks different from all the rest. So Wes, ties him up tight, gags him. Emerald actually suggests to blind him, so we put a bag over his head. And Wes also looks for accoutrements, some weird stuff. He's got a necklace. He's got a bag of powders, and there was something else. So he takes all that stuff as well. Don't want the magic use. The guy summoning the fog to be able to do anything. And while we do the air stop on the sail, so the ship stops moving forward, the other two ships continue on their course. Don't notice we missed. Wes meant to mention that we need to get Mad Eye off the ship, the Viking ship, and get him onto ours where we can lock him up or do something with him, but that didn't get quite crossed. And you'll see later why, or what became of that. Okay. Eventually, though, the ships do notice that they're missing one, and so they turn and pursue us, so they're rowing towards us. And we use the shade spell and our repulsors and the sensors, since we can actually see them to actually evade them, because they're actually coming general direction, right? And then we go and meet up with the fleet. Okay, so there's discussion with the crew. Mad Eye lives on the island of Mirxiliar, the village of Kilanaris. That's up the river. And so we're using the scanner to pick out things, and sure enough, we can see the islands and stuff, and we can pick up heat signatures of bodies and animals and stuff. And there are a couple of concentrations we kind of figure out. Well, up the river, this heat concentration must be his village. But while we're doing that, Wes notices an anomaly off to the east-southeast that is described as energy readings of non-specific source. And it's a large area, right? There's two of them. And so Wes does some further investigations. And so these are energy vortexes, one going down, another going up. And it's kind of near the island, right? But it's out in the ocean, in the water. Okay, so we leave the Viking ship, the Mad Eye's Viking ship that we confiscated with the Viking fleet guys. Okay, take the ship, take these prisoners, go back, get Wergild, get praise from the Jarl. We're going to head off to Kilnaris to find the girl. None of the crew knew anything about her. When we asked Mad Eye, he says, fuck you, that kind of thing. Okay, so there was a part when we were talking with the crew that Mad Eye says, don't you tell them anything, that kind of stuff. Okay, get Mad Eye out of here. Separate them. And then one guy says, well, he doesn't kill Naris, and some other Viking dude kicked him, so we take the guy who kicked him, move to the prow, keep him away from everybody, that kind of stuff. But we didn't really get anything out of investigating. So Runt is thinking that we need to keep Mad Eye unconscious. So he starts looking for drugs, and he finds in the main cabin, the galley area, um, behind a picture, there's a cabinet with all this high-tech healing drugs and healing stuff. There's some QuickTime. There's a healing accelerant. There's a medical sensor. It needs to be recharged. It's got cells. We can do that now. And a number of different pharmaceuticals. So we put Mad Eye into a chemical coma. So we approach the island. We can see lights from the village that's on the coast. And we notice off to the east, southeast, that there are clouds, thick with rain and lightning and stuff. Hey, that's right where the vortex area is. We do see that there are long ships anchored, docked in the harbor. It could be the ones from the fleet, the two of the three that were following us, but we couldn't quite tell. So we decided, okay, we're going to kind of make a plan, right? The idea is we're going to fly the ship over land. We're going to use the shade spell to keep it dark and go over to the village, right? And we'll keep Runt on the ship because Runt now hates this world, this planet, this dirty, nasty place. At least the ship has some creature comforts. So he's going to stay on the ship, keep it in the air, while the rest of us rappel down and try and find the girl. That's the plan anyway. Happy gaming.